Nick Fuentes. He's this far right white nationalist who is, very popular online with many people who support you.
I don't think I should have to answer for a guy who attacks my family. I think what did I say about him? That he can eat because anybody who goes after my family, whatever side they're on the opposite side of me.
I don't want your shit, okay? I know that's what they do in India. I know that's maybe what happens at your dinner table. I don't want it.
And just the idea that we have to be so gentle and careful, and you don't want to be, some jackass Yahoo American and stepping on the indigenous people's culture, and don't step on this tiny little plant. But American culture, screw that. That's not worth anything.
You had dinner with Trump.
I did.
And Kanye.
Yes.
What did you think of that?
It was surreal because those are my two heroes. Those are my two number one heroes of all time.
Described your love for Trump, sincere
childhood
love for Trump. So what was it like to find yourself at dinner with them?
It was funny because it was literally Thanksgiving dinner. It was 3 days before Thanksgiving. So not only was it dinner, but I'm having Thanksgiving dinner with Ye and Trump at the same table. And these are my heroes. And the story that I brought up was, this was really what sent me. In the first Fox News debate in 2015, in the Republican primary,
yes,
Bret Baier, the first question said, raise your hand if you will not pledge to support the eventual nominee.
Yes.
And Trump raised his hand because that's what he was saying. He said, if I don't win, I'll run independent and I'll make Republicans lose. And so I brought that up and I told that story and I said, I feel like what was inspiring in 2016 is that you were willing to let the Republican establishment lose. You were serious about blowing them up, such that you were not going to say, like Pat Buchanan, who I respect, but Sam Francis acknowledged that was one of his great mistakes, was ultimately endorsing Bush. I said, it showed you were serious, you were playing to win, because you said, I will let this Republican Party crash and burn. I want to run as the Republican, but if I can't, I'll run independent. I said, and that's how I knew you were serious. And that's how I knew you were the guy. I said, and I feel like lately, this was right after Ronna McDaniel became the head of the RNC again. I was like, I feel like lately you're just behind all these people. I said, we're not here for Kevin McCarthy. We're not here for Ronna McDaniel or Mitch McConnell. I said, we are here for you. We will die for you. We are loyal to you. I said, and when you did that, that showed you could win, and we rallied. I said, so I want to see more like that. I want to see you hit DeSantis, let's say, who is running against him. And he was like, oh, okay. He goes, oh, so you like that? It was right after he called them DeSanctimonious.
Yeah.
I said, that was awesome. You should have kept hitting him. He's like, oh, you like that? He goes, this guy's hardcore. I like this guy, he was saying about me. And so I was trying to just get his mojo back, and, gas him up a little bit. And so that's how it went between me and him.
I want to move on to another figure that you have, over the course of your career, have gotten in a bit of a disagreement with, Nick Fuentes. He's this far right white nationalist who is, very popular online with many people who support you.
I don't think I should have to answer for a guy who attacks my family. I don't like the guy. The guy's
you
come after
condemn
my
him.
family. Of course I do. I think what did I say about him? That he can eat because anybody who goes after my family, whatever side they're on the opposite side of me.
You know what I was doing in 2016? I was knocking on doors for President Trump. You voted for Evan McMullin. In 2017, I was at Charlottesville. You were on CNN calling Trump a Nazi and praising Obama. I have been called out again by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance. Today, in an interview, he formally condemned me. And once again, he's trying to convince me to eat shit. I don't know what to say at this point. I don't want your shit, okay? I know that's what they do in India. I know that's maybe what happens at your dinner table. I don't want it. I don't want your shit. Stop trying to get me to eat shit. I see this interview. He says, oh, I seem to recall I told Nick Fuentes to eat shit. So listen, man, I know that's how they roll where your wife is from. Good for you. I don't need any cultural enrichment. I don't want it.
And just the idea that we have to be so gentle and careful, and you don't want to be, some jackass Yahoo American and stepping on the indigenous people's culture, and don't step on this tiny little plant. But American culture, screw that. That's not worth anything. And does America have a culture? Well, for one thing, we've inherited all of Western culture, the greatest culture that has ever existed in the entire world. That's apparently hate speech to say that. Look at the case of Amy Wax, the professor at University of Pennsylvania Law School. She wrote an article, she's the smartest living person, just saying Western culture is so clearly superior to any other culture. And that's when they started trying to strip her of her tenure. But as for specifically American culture, I just wrote about it this week with the death of one tiny little sliver of American culture, with the death of Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead. That is a band that could only have come out of America with its individualistic spirit and self-reliance, and just the music heritage of R&B and country and even a little jazz and then rock and roll thrown in. No other country could have produced that band, or the touring, just the whole thing about that. That's a tiny little sliver of American culture. How about the whole cowboys and Indians culture? The Clint Eastwood, that's American. Cowboys are American. And I'd also throw in Hollywood culture.
Here's the difference. You need young white men to turn out and vote for you. You are asking for something from us. You are trying to be the president.
And then he said, I don't want their support anymore.
You told us when we wanted the Epstein files, we don't need your votes anymore. Hey, wish granted. Remember that? Remember in July of 2025 when Trump said, if you want the Epstein files, you're not a real supporter. I don't want your vote. Hey, wish granted, pal. Wish granted. You wanted it, you got it. Fuck you. You want to get it back on track? Good luck. Call Netanyahu. That's the part that I love. They sell us out. H-1B visas galore, student visas galore, no mass deportations, burying the Epstein files. I think Bill Clinton's a great guy.
But it bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me. He understood me. He was the one that said very famously that you don't want to run against Trump when there were 18 people. It was 18 people, including me, total. And he kept telling them, you don't want to run against Trump. Run against anyone. Don't run against Trump. And Hillary sort of laughed at him. He said, Hillary, you know it, and I know, don't run against Trump.
Yeah.
And they ran against Trump. It didn't work out too well, did it? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. We thank you for your time. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good time.
There needs to be some recognition that has to go in reverse, and it has to go towards an explicit identification of America as a Christian nation. And I think the basics are, getting back to the Catholic Protestant unity, we believe in Jesus Christ. Amen. We believe in his resurrection. We believe in the Gospels. That's who we are. And that's what our country's going to be. And if you don't like it, leave. And you can't have any authority over us. If you're not a Christian,
then you're a guest.
Exactly. And
behave like one.
Behave like one, and you have no authority over Christians, over a Christian country, if that's not your creed. And for a time, there might have even been a valid counter-argument, maybe for the Jews, but now you have Israel. So if they want to say, maybe 100 years ago, if they wanted to say, well, what about us? Well, now there is an explicitly Jewish nationalist state in the Middle East alongside all the Muslim countries.
Yep.
So if you want Islam, if you want Hinduism, if you even want rabbinical Judaism, there are plenty of other countries.
You have a place to go.
Right. But this is a Christian nation. And so, and that is the basis of
It's
Christian
it's almost
nationalism.
like you're a Zionist. You want the Jews to go home. You know,
Yes.
like I want them to actually have a nation state and stay in it. You know,
Right.
stay over there. No, I completely agree. Still speaking like politically and how religion works, you know, in tandem with national politics. Catholicism. So I believe the Christian religion is universal. Every tribe, tongue, and nation. Right. Christianity is not a white religion. It's a human religion. It's for all peoples. And now I don't deny that, you know, over the last, 1,500 years, starting from Constantine, or at least the last millennia, starting with, King Alfred, God has providentially worked in a unique way with Westerners. There's no doubt, which is incredible, and praise God for his grace. But I want as many people to be saved as possible. I'd also like for them to stay in their country, but I'd like for them to be saved. I don't mind if they're my neighbors in heaven, because the FBI, crime statistics in heaven will be zero. There's no more sin. We'll be okay.
And I got to be honest with you, the people that I have the biggest problem with, it's guys like Matt Walsh. I have to say, Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles, to me, are the biggest ones.
And they're both Catholic.
I know.
Those should be your guys.
I know. And that's the thing is,
well, let me go on the record real quick, because
Sure.
I don't want to be hypocritical. I like Matt Walsh. And actually, this, I think, will maybe surprise some of the listeners, but I like Matt Walsh and kind of like a blue-collar everyman. He just got like that, he just has common sense in spades, right? He just,
Right.
He's good on that. But Michael Knowles is actually, I think, more based. People usually think Matt Walsh, but Michael Knowles, he understands, like, he's more like, the Christian monarch, and that, like, he knows like the Catholic philosophy and like the history and stuff like that. So like Michael Knowles, I think in some ways is like more on board for like, let's set up a Christian monarch and Christian nationalism than even Walsh would be. But both of them do really well in a lot of ways, but they're never going to call out Jews.
right.
So I get that.
Well, and that's the issue is it's not that I don't like them as guys. I mean, over the years, I have come to have a little more respect for them. They're Catholic. They're fellow travelers on some level. They're white. Michael Knowles is Italian. He's Sicilian. I'm Calabrian. So we were a little different as Italians, as far as Italians go. And so to me, it's like, if you are not America first, and the biggest obstacle to that, of course, is the Israel lobby, at least on the right wing, then you're kind of a traitor. And I identify Ben Shapiro, like, some would call him a grifter. I would say he's just a foreign operative, because he believes in what he says, but he's just agitating for a foreign government. He's on Israel's side, not America's.